people probably would know you best from. You've been on Rogan. You've done some stuff with the Daily Wire crew. Ben Shapiro. You educated Ben Shapiro about rap being music.
Yeah,
which was amazing. Massive W for you.
Not a lot of people have changed his mind on something.
Ben Shapiro was wilding with that, bro. it doesn't have rhythm, and it's just rhythm. It's no melody, and you're like, no, there's melody in rap, bud. Especially the newer stuff. Yeah. So that was good. I love seeing you on there. I mean, you've interviewed Andrew Tate. You've been on Fresh and Fit. You've fill me in.
Dude, some other names. I've been on.
You just did Lila Rose's pod with live action, so that's gonna be coming out soon. Shout out to Lila Rose.
Yeah, I was saying, I think, and look, someone can put someone else up for this, but I might wager that I may be the person who's been on the biggest range and diversity of podcasts and shows out of anybody in this world.
Yeah.
So from religious podcasts and shows to political stuff, social, cultural stuff, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, health and fitness.
Zuby was trying to get me back into Bitcoin between our streams.
Yeah, these dating and relationship podcasts. I've been on Fresh and Fit 6 times.
Hurley things.
I've been on that twice.
Yep.
And then I have my own podcast as well. So I'm at the intersection of so many different worlds.
Sure.
People will notice, when you ask me what I do, I brought up 5 different career paths there.
Yep.
So as a result of that, and also doing so much stuff all over the world, like I'm not from America, but the U.S.
You're here
is
a lot.
U.S. is my biggest audience, and I travel all over. So just doing what I do in the way I have, and getting the opportunity to travel so much, I think a lot of people like my perspectives on things because it's not coming from just a single angle.
Yeah.
I've grown up across multiple countries, very different cultures. I mean, I lived in Saudi Arabia for 20 years. My family's originally from Nigeria. I've been to 37 countries at this point. I was in both the American school system up until 5th grade, then the British school system. So I don't kind of have like a typical American view or a typical British view or a typical Nigerian view or a typical Saudi view. I'm kind of just this man of the world, and I see things from different angles. And I like to comment on it. And a lot of people find value in that, whether they agree, disagree, whatever it is. So it's been a fun journey.
A lot of folks don't know that you're also a Christian. And I've known you, we met in person 2019, but I feel like we were friendly way before that when I interviewed you way back when I was doing my mobile setup. We were at A3C conference in Atlanta, and then we happened to randomly hang out. Was it 2 years ago?
Yes, in LA.
Well, that was LA, and then we were in Miami together with Patrick Bet-David and Adam Sauce. Shout out to those guys. And so a lot of my audience is like, oh, I didn't know Zuby was a Christian, you know? So talk about that and just the role that faith has played in your life, and maybe why you aren't as known for your faith as much. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, sure thing. So my whole family is Christian. So I'm one of 5. My immediate family is 7 people. And then my wider family is way, way bigger than that. I've got over 50 first cousins. The Udezwe family is gigantic. So my whole family, as far as I know, is Christian. So, of course, like I said, I grew up in Saudi Arabia, so fully Islamic country. I grew up in an expat community over there, but from a very young age, I was going to church every Friday. There, the weekend is Thursday and Friday, not Saturday and Sunday. So Friday was the day. I think it's
similar in Israel too.
Yeah, so Friday was the day that that we go to church. When I say going to church, there's no church buildings in Saudi Arabia. So in our community, we would do church either in the school gymnasium or in the theater. So I was, I was going to church. It was still called Sunday school, even though it was on Friday. So I grew up in that. Both my parents are people of faith. I remember my dad all throughout my life, and even now, every morning he's reading the Bible first thing in the morning, drinking his coffee. We would do family prayers as all 7 of us in the evening. We even pass out the hymnals. I remember that as a kid. We'd all have the hymnals go to this page, and we'd all sing together as a family. It was a lot of fun. So I've been a Christian all the way through. I don't have like a conversion story myself. I think as you become a teenager and you go into your early 20s and so on, I think every believer who is a critical thinker and intellectual is going to go through times and periods and moments where you question it all, right? Because I think if you grow up in a faith, you just grow up in it, and as a kid, you don't really make your own decisions about these things. You're just like whatever your parents tell you is true, or whatever you're surrounded by, that's what's true. That's what you do. But then you get to an age where you become more independent and you start to become more questioning, and you think, okay, I think at some point you have to make a decision if a religion is actually for you, right? Whatever faith or lack of you are raised in, you'll get to a time in your life where you think, okay, wait, all right, I've been told all this stuff. Let me really think about it. Let me talk to other people, see what other beliefs are out there. What are the criticisms against my own religion? Why do some people believe in it and others don't? And so on. From a very young age, it was actually a massive blessing that the community I grew up in was truly, truly diverse. You had people from all over the world, all different nationalities.
It's because you're in Saudi Arabia, but it's this American community, right? Or
expat community.
Define that for me.
International community.
Got it.
So you had people from all over. You had people from Europe, from North America, from Australia and New Zealand, from other Arab countries, Jordan, Syria, all over the place, other African countries. It was just people from all over who have come to work in Saudi Arabia. Everyone's an engineer or a doctor or a teacher or some kind of, IT worker or technician. So I was kind of in this bubble. But one thing that was great about it is it just meant from the very beginning, I was surrounded by everybody, different nationalities, different skin colors, different religious beliefs, different types of, it was so. For me, that was always just kind of the norm. And I knew, of course, cool, I'm in a predominantly Muslim country. My family is Christian, as are the other people going to our church and so on. But I'm also talking to all these different people and trying to understand, okay, what are the things we agree on? What are the things we disagree on? What does this stuff really mean? What does it mean to be a Muslim? What does it mean to be a Christian? What does it mean to be an atheist, a Hindu, a Buddhist, right? It was all there. So I didn't grow up in an environment where all I ever saw was one thing. And then I kind of didn't see the rest until I was older. For me, it was like
you were immersed in it.
I was immersed. I was immersed in it all. And then, I went to boarding school when I was 11 in England. So I still lived in Saudi Arabia, but I was flying by myself back and forth from.
Whoa, at 11?
Yeah, at 11. Yeah, so I was traveling internationally by myself since 11.
Wow.
So like the life I live now, people are like, man, how do you, I'm like, bro, I've been doing this forever.
Wow.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine sending my son away to boarding school, man.
After 5th grade. The school I went to, the youngest boarders were 7.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And that's international too.
Man.
Like there were some of these, this 7-year-old boy, his parents are in South Korea and he's here in the UK. Sometimes they barely spoke English. And
bro.
Now that I'm older, I'm like, man, like that's kind of crazy to send your 7-year-old away.
My son's about to be 9, bro.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think I could do that.
Yeah. So the first school I went to was from ages 7 to 12. And then the secondary school, you'd call it in the UK, was from about 12 or 13 up to 17 or 18.
And that was dope. You enjoyed that?
It was cool. It was cool. I think it made me independent really young. Because when I got to university, when I was 18, I'd already been away from my family and my parents for 7 years.
You've been independent for a very long time.
Yeah, I've been independent for a long time. So I noticed the difference between me and the people who were just leaving home at that point now.
You were well adjusted and stuff.
Yeah, I was well adjusted. I remember people, crying because they were homesick and whatever. I'm like, bro, you're homesick? Like, come on, man. But then I realized, okay, this is your first time. This is your first time away from home. I'm like, I've been doing this for 7 years,
Yeah.